Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and today, we got some normal support. Normal, regular, nothing out of the ordinary Tellarknight and Constellar support. Now, if you know me, once a year I will make the most average, normal, nothing out of the ordinary Tellarknight combo, except this time, this support was so ordinary that it's no longer considered goofy to make an ordinary Tellarknight combo. I'll drop the facade for a second. This support has finally done to Tellarknights what they've needed ever since conception. They gave them actual proactive plays, and what's really nice is these are updated to like 2022, 2023 standards. Because man, Tellarknights, even when they were a new deck, were not really that good. People confuse the idea like, oh, they played all these traps because they could, and not really because of the fact that they couldn't do anything else. It was a very mediocre, reactionary, slow control trap deck that didn't create its own disruptions on its own, so it had to rely on back row. But what we have been given here is, well, ordinary support. So I'm actually going to do a few combos and probably even a test hand to demonstrate some of these ideas. For this quick combo, the first one at least, what we need is Sheraton. Constellar Sheraton. We're going to go ahead and normal summon it. And this card on normal summon says you can add any Constellar from your deck to your hand. And we are going to add Constellar Caduceus, which allows itself to special summon itself if you control a Constellar. And then during the main phase, we can activate its effect to search any Constellar spell or trap. And what we're going to do is search Twinkle. Now, something about this is some of this combo could just be done with any engine that is 2 level 4s on board. But I like this package a little more because this generates 3 level 4s in the combo and has direct synergy with what you're trying to do because these are Constellars. We're going to activate Twinkle, which we can target a Constellar on the board, increase the level by 1 or 2. We're going to increase the Sheraton by 1. So congrats, we have 2 level 4s on board. Now we're going to overlay those 2 level 4s, and we are going to make the new XE Tellarknight Constellar Caduceus. For some reason, they couldn't just say Constellarknight. If this card is XE summoned, you can target 1 Tellarknight and or Constellar. Yeah, it could add 1 of each. Or just 1 or the other or whatever. Card, which means spells or traps, add it back to your hand. That is an insane recycle effect, but it's actually a great starter, so this effect comes up turn 3 a lot more than you would expect. Now, its other effect is we can banish a Tellarknight or Constellar monster from our hand or deck and detach a material, so we'll go ahead and detach the Caduceus, and we will banish one of the new ones, Tellarknight Lyra, which this card we'll get into in a moment, but basically, what Constellar Caduceus, whatever, when you apply that effect, its effect becomes the ability to copy the effect of the monster that activates on normal summon. And because of that wording specifically, it doesn't change its name to gain that effect. It's much more like the Dark Lord spells and traps, so you can use that effect again if it's a hard once per turn. So with Lyra, we will go ahead, banish it, and now we get to search a Tellarknight spell from our deck to our hand. Yeah, sorry. Of all the stuff this support did, it did not allow you to search Alpha, because at this point, who cares? You'll see in a moment. So, Tellarknight Constellar. When this card is activated and resolves, it can revive a Constellar or Tellarknight from the hand or graveyard. So we'll go ahead and do that just for the extra level 4, which is why I said any 2 level 4s can establish this, but it doesn't establish this. Now, you can target 1 Tellarknight or Constellar XE monsters you control, and then you can just plop one of the other XEs on top of it, but it has to be a different rank. Now this is a problem because we want to make a rank 4, so how do we turn a Constellar XE into something not a rank 4? Oh yeah, we've been able to do it since 2013. We're just going to plop M7 on top of it, which allows us to use the spell and we are going to make Deltaros. Now, if you've seen an ordinary Tellarknight combo before, you know where this is going. We're going to target the Deltaros, destroy it. Deltaros is going to trigger, and we are going to summon a Tellarknight out of the deck, which will be Altair. Altair will trigger to summon Deltaros from the grave. Then we will link these two Tellarknights, which are warriors, into Isolde. Chainlink 1 will be Deltaros, Chainlink 2 will be Isolde. Isolde will add another Altair, since we've already used that effect this turn. And then we are going to go ahead and summon Yooka-Laylee out of the deck. And this Yooka-Laylee is going to dump a new card, Tellarknight Altea. So, the new ones actually are pretty cool, because one of the problems Tellarknights has always had is it hasn't had a real extender, like, in any capacity. So Lyra is cool, because if you normal summon either of the archetypes, you can just special summon it out of your hand. But with this one, it's reverse, where if it's in the graveyard, it can do it. And then on summon, you can target cards on the field up to the number of Light or Dire XE monsters to destroy them, which is like a big pop. Pretty cool. Now, we're going to use Isolde, and we're going to dump one equipped spell to summon a level 1 warrior. Now I'm going to dump Alpha, but there are like better equipped spells you can play, like Axe of Fools is a good going second card-ish. It's like decent going second. You can play like actual real equipped cards that are extenders and whatnot, but for this example, we'll just dump Alpha. We are going to summon Knuckle Sword. Knuckle Sword will trigger, and we're going to target the Yooka-Laylee, and we're going to turn Yooka-Laylee into a level 1. So we'll overlay these two level 1s into Heroic Champion. Never going to pronounce that right. So this card, we can detach 2 materials from it and target a level 4, a rank 4 warrior in our graveyard, special summon it. Hey, Deltaros is a rank 4 warrior. And Altea will trigger because, hey, guess what? We summoned a Tellarknight or Constellar. So now, we will link these 3 into Apollousa, and Deltaros is going to trigger one last time. And we are going to go ahead and summon Deneb, and we can go ahead and search Lyra. So, now we are going to activate Constellar Twinkle, and we're going to increase this Tellarknight by 1. And you might be thinking, doesn't that only work on Constellars? Both of the new Tellarknights are also always treated as Constellar monsters, so they are both archetypes. And more importantly, this card has a graveyard effect. You can banish a Constellar from a graveyard, which we will go ahead and banish the M7, to add it back to our hand. And we wouldn't have been able to do that unless we actually added it back with the XE. So now, we just get to do it again, and we'll target the actual Constellar, and now increase its level by 1. Then we will overlay those 2 level 5s into Pleiades. Lyra will trigger because a Constellar and or Tellarknight was summoned to special summon itself. And now, right now, we're going to go ahead and detach to bounce Tellarknight Constellar back to our hand, because on activation, it's a Monster Reborn for both archetypes, which is nice. And then we can use the other effect on the following turn, but we're not done. We have these 2 level 4s to go into, and I'll tell you right now, this combo specifically does not set up enough to make it does not set up enough to make a Trivera on your opponent's turn, but another combo does. But we're going to overlay these 2 level 4s into Tolmaeus, and then during the end phase, we can attach a random Constellar or Tellarknight to it. Let's just pretend it's Trivera, and then detach 3, and then guess what? We make Diamond, or if we have another spell or trap to set, or we decide not to bounce this, we can make Durandal. This was one card. This was a 1-card combo in Tellarknights, which is, hey, that's pretty good. Not only do you have 2 Monster Reborns on the following turn, which, one of the things I will say is, on the following turn, what I like to do is normal Altair, special Deneb, and you search the, Sirius, which is the Pot of Avarice for the archetype, because you normal Altair, special Deneb, and then this will summon Sirius out of the hand, and you just get to recycle everything, draw a card. You actually get to establish a lot here. It's really, really, really nice. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, I want to show one other demonstration. Now for this next demonstration, We'll start with a new series of a starter combo. We will go with Deneb and Lyra. We'll have 3 random cards in hand, keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and normal summon Deneb, and in response, we can chain this like so. Lyra, Chainlink 2, Deneb, Chainlink 1. And Lyra will summon itself, and Deneb will Surge. Altair. And then on summon, Lyra will activate, and we can add a Tellarknight spell from our deck to our hand, which, of course, you've seen it before. Now, we're going to overlay these 2 level 4s into, you guessed it, Caduceus again. Now, unlike last time, we actually have no cards in the graveyard to add, but it's not a requirement. So we're going to go ahead and detach the Deneb and banish that Sheraton from our deck, and on resolution, it'll be treated as searching a Constellar, and we will add Zucchini, Constellar Zucchini. I'll go into this right now. So we're going to go ahead and activate the spell, which summons a Constellar or Tellarknight from hand or graveyard. We'll summon Zucchini from hand, and on normal or special summon, this can add any Constellar monster from your deck to your hand, and we are going to add Caduceus. Caduceus can special summon itself because we control a Constellar, and then Caduceus can go ahead and add us Twinkle. Now, we are going to do what we did earlier in the first combo, overlay on top of... Over the Caduceus, we are going to overlay Ptolemy M7, and then we're going to turn it into Deltros with the spell. Deltros will trigger popping itself, which will activate by detaching material. And it will summon Vega out of the deck, and Vega will trigger to summon the Altair we searched from hand, which will go ahead and revive the Deltros. And we will link these 2 into Isolde, Chainlink 1, Deltros, Chainlink 2 Isolde. Isolde will add a Deltros since we can no longer use it this turn. And then the Deltros will go ahead and summon Ukulele, which will dump Altea. Isolde will go ahead and activate Isolde, and we are going to dump and equip to summon the level 1, just like last combo. And we can target either one of these warriors, let's go with Vega, into a level 1 so we can make Heroic Champion, never going to pronounce it, detach 2 materials, and revive the Deltros. Now, from here there's a few things we can do. I think I'm going to go ahead and Twinkle this so it's increasing its level by 1, and we will overlay these 2 level 5s into Durandal. Pretty good play, I guess. Not as powerful as a negate as Infinity, but it's easier to set up and uses less extra deck monsters, so there's like some merit to just playing this, or replacing it for Infinity, or whatever, up to you. Now, we will link these 4 away into a 4 material Apollosa. Deltros, of course, will trigger, and we will get 1 more Tellarknight from our deck. I guess it really doesn't matter. Whichever one you want. We'll go with Lyra. And then, of course, Altea will trigger, and it'll summon itself out of the graveyard. Now, this is a weird setup. So, a 4 material Apollosa Durandal, which we have the spell, already have the spell to establish. So, what's the end goal here? So, let's count how many Tellarknight monsters are in our graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you've watched my channel for about a year now, you know exactly what I can do with 7 Tellarknight names that are different in my graveyard. We're going to go ahead and banish the M7 to add back the Twinkle because it's a free discard for this. But we're not going to summon anything with this on our turn. Why would we ever do that? Well, we have 7 or more Tellarknight monsters, different names in our graveyard. The effect to turn itself into a different Tellarknight XC becomes a quick effect that can be activated whenever. Not main phase lock, not standby or battle phase, just whenever. So if they go to finally attack over the board when you use all your negates, you can just, let me show you. Let's say we have to use most of our Apollosa negates. We have to use the Durandal, which pops this. Oh no, they're going to try to establish. Here, let's stop that. We'll detach material, discard a card. Hey, it's Triver. Yay! This gets bounced. So whatever establishment they have left gets bounced, And even if their final resources are just used out, this just floats back into Deltaros. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. So basically, you establish a format Apo, a Durandal negate, and if all those fails, you can go ahead and wipe the board clean and end on a floater. And to be fair, you don't have to only end on Trevere either, because you can also end on Diamond if you so need to, which is pretty cool. So, that's another combo I wanted to establish, but for this last one, we're just going to do a demonstration hand. Now, I will say right now that this deck is absolutely unfinished, because this hand is really good, but these two cards have no business actually being in the deck list at all, realistically. You could play, like, some trap cards, or maybe find alternative methods to alpha, like, I don't know, really. I have no idea what you would do. But let's just go ahead and play out this hand, and we'll actually respect these cards as the trap they're designed to be. We will normal summon Sheraton, and it will trigger, and then Chainlink 2, because we're summoning a Constellar, we can do this. So Sheraton will add a Constellar, which will be Caduceus, and then Lyra can go ahead and add a spell. What's interesting is we already have this, so we can go ahead and search Skybridge. Now we can special summon the Caduceus, because we control a Constellar, and then we can add Twinkle. And then Twinkle will go ahead and increase this card's level by 1. Now, what I think I'll do is I'll actually activate Skybridge. And I will turn the Lyra into Deneb. And then Deneb will trigger to add Altair. Now, while we control Deneb, we can only make Tellarknights from our extra deck. But, when has that mattered? When at any point in any of these combos has that been a restriction? Because we're going to go ahead and make this, and we can level 4s, and you can detach material, which we will do the Altair, to special summon a light monster out of your hand, and we can summon the other Zucchini, and now this Zucchini can search the Altea we were trying to search earlier. But the reason I have this established is, sure, they're level 5 lights, but they're actually level 5 machine lights, so we can go Nova Infinity. So, that's pretty cool. But now, we're not done. We're going to link away these two into Isolde. Isolde will trigger Chainlink 2, and then Chainlink 1 will be Deltaros. Deltaros will go ahead and summon this one, and we'll add another Altair again, because we've already used this. This card on summon, you can discard a Tellarknight, draw 1 card. Not bad. And now we can use Isolde to dump an equip spell, which we have the one right here, to special summon the Knuckle Sword. Knuckle Sword would turn whatever this is called into the rank 1, because, oh my goodness, I cannot pronounce its name. Detach both materials, and then we can revive the Deltros, which allows us to trigger the Altea. Now, let me do a quick head count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's enough. We're gonna link away these 4 into an Apollosa, and then of course... Actually, no. We're going to keep this up. My bad. So it's going to be a 3 material. But Deltaros is going to trigger... Alright, you might notice an abrupt cut because I kind of misplayed. I forgot this line of combo. But with the Deltaros, we're going to go ahead and summon Yooka-Laylee. And Yooka-Laylee is going to dump Sirius. Now we're going to overlay these 2 level 4s into, you guessed it, Batlamus. And I wouldn't summon this unless we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different names of Tellarknights in our graveyard. So we have the Apollosa, the Cyber Dragon Infinity, and what's most important is I accounted for the traps. So an interesting thing we can do is on our opponent's turn, let's say we have to use the Infinity Negate and some Apollosas. When we go into the Trevere by detaching and discarding, it will bounce everything, but I'm keeping in mind the expendable die and the alpha. So if they try to negate the Trevere, we can alpha it away. Everything gets bounced and you get a draw. But otherwise, if there's something we don't want them to have back in hand, like some kind of Kashtira or whatever, we'll tribute the Deltaros in response to its own effect, pop it, pop that card, draw 1 card for ourselves, but then everything else is getting bounced. But what's really nice is, hey, Trevere has a floating effect, so we will go ahead and float into Altair, which will float into Sirius, which we can go ahead and recycle back 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and we'll get a fresh draw. So our opening hand is going to casually have 8 cards in it, and 2 of which were Searched Monster Reborns. And let's not forget, we added back the Skybridge. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow. This is nuts. Oh, yeah, I forgot. This will also trigger, so we have 3 level 4s already. My bad. So we used an Infinity Gate, a bunch of Apollosa Negates, got rid of a card, and holy shit. This is nice. This is a really nice layer of power given to this deck. This is cool. This is actually so impressive. I really like this support. So I remember making custom cards for this like a while ago. And it was actually really cool because the idea I had is, what if you could get the Constellars and Tellarknights to combine with each other? And that's what this really does. There's actually some really cute synergies between these two, and I like it. But you know what? That's going to be it. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. What can I say? This is actually just some really nice support. The problem with Tellarknights, I've said this 1,000 times, is they don't actually achieve anything prior to this support. And all the normal combos I did, like this one, when I was doing them beforehand, you had to establish 3 level 4s randomly, which wasn't very effective. But now they're just like, hey, here, have fun. This is so cool. Very, very well done. But yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Dinner Flex will take your soul.